the first two people that can give me their social insurance card and their birth certificate, you're going to win a brand new shredder worth over $400. I'm not kidding. I actually have them in here. So anybody that can bring their, so you should start looking in your wallet. Some of you must have your social insurance card with you. Anybody? Come on. Anybody? Okay, if you haven't got both, the first person that can bring their social insurance card up here will win a shredder. Delivered to your house. I'm not kidding. I'm serious. This is not a joke. Oh, look at this. He's got both. I love it. Come on, hurry up. First two people that come up here, cut them off quick. Oh, you got to be fast. There we go. What do you have? A social insurance card? What else do you have? Anything else? You got your birth certificate? Oh, he's got both. Oh, wait a minute. This is great. Stuart. Okay, so that's yours. Stay here for a minute. Hold them up to the camera. No, we don't want to do that. But the number is, by the way, do you know everybody on the East Coast, you all start with the number 1. Did you know that on your social insurance card? If you got your number here. You're not quick enough. Excuse me. Come on. Hurry up. Let's go. You have them both there?
However, you didn't say I'm going to show them to you.
Yes. I have to see them to make sure you have them. There you go. Okay, now. Those are the two documents you should not have in your possession. I'm not kidding. You do not want to carry those with you anymore. The people that have them, that showed them to me, and the people that didn't because they were too embarrassed to come up to the stage, I want you to take them and I want you to put them in a safe place wherever you keep. Where do you store your passport? Do you have a safe spot at home? Maybe wherever it is, just put them there. You do not want to carry those around with you because those are the two documents that someone can start to recreate you. Yes?
What was the second document?
Birth certificate and your social insurance card. When was the last time you had to show somebody your birth certificate? Just take it out when you need to take it out. When was the last time somebody asked you for your social insurance number? You should only be using that when it relates to tax issues. You know what I'm talking about there? Income tax. When it comes to open up a bank account and you're going to collect interest in that account, they're going to want to know your number because there's interest income being earned. Or if you buy an RSP for the first time at an institution, they're going to ask you for your social insurance number, correct? And how many of you know your number off by heart? Put up your hands, come on. And I love that, that's great. And how many people here currently do not have their social insurance card in their wallet? Oh, good, okay. The rest of you didn't put up your hand, you know what to do. Okay. Now, at the end of my speech, I only brought 25 of these with me. And I'm the first 25 people that see me outside, you're getting one of these for free. I'm not kidding. But the only thing is they have to be autographed, and the autographs are $20. I love saying that. Okay, so why did I write the book? I went to a Rogers store one day. I live in Toronto, by the way, and in Richmond Hill, and I go to rent a movie. Remember when we used to rent movies? And in 2006, and I could not access my bank account to take any money out. I was already drawn for the day, taking out the maximum limit. So my wife and I went back home, went online, checked our account. $499 had been taken out of my bank account on that day that I did not take out. And, go figure, last week, I had a problem with my American Express card. I have a Costco American Express card. There's no chip in it, and I don't need a PIN to access that card. Somebody took $263 and rented a limo in Brampton, north of Toronto, and on the 14th of February, somebody took $468 out of from my American Express card to buy supplements or something in some kind of a health food store. So I found out about this. I contacted American Express because I wondered what the limo thing was all about. And they said, did you also do the following purchases? So I had to cancel my card, just a minor inconvenience. Now, those two things I just brought up, my credit card and my bank account, was that identity theft? No. You know what that was? Credit card and debit card fraud. I was not a victim of identity theft. Identity theft is more serious. Identity theft can start where? With the SIN number. This is in Newfoundland. I did a speech there about 3-4 years ago, and in St. John's, and I asked the audience, I said, has anybody been a victim of identity theft? And one person put up one hand, and somebody else put up two hands. So I said, why are you putting up two hands? He'd been a victim twice. You're not going to believe what they did with this guy. They got a hold of the SIN number, and they went and got a job somewhere in Ontario, and they were working, and they filed their income taxes. The fraudster impersonating this guy filed income taxes. Duh! And guess what? The guy that owned the SIN number, he filed his income taxes as well. But he had just filled out a form saying that he wanted direct deposit of his refund. And he was supposed to get about $4,000 or $5,000, and he only got $1,600. So he contacted Revenue Canada, the good guy, and they said, we just want to verify your address. And he gave a Newfoundland address. And they said, oh, we have you living in Toronto. Guess what? That's how they found out about the fraud. But isn't that amazing? How stupid can they be? They actually file income tax using... Anyway, so that's that story. So here's my definition of identity theft. It's very simple. It's stealing that valuable, personal, identifiable information and without your permission and committing fraud, forgery, or theft. They're impersonating you. They are now becoming you. They're not just stealing your credit card. That's credit card fraud. They're not just going into your bank account. That's bank fraud. They're actually getting a brand new driver's license. They're taking Stuart's social insurance number and his birth certificate, and they're walking in to get a brand new license with their photograph, but Stuart's name all over the card and his address. I can get your address so easy. I can go in your blue box and get your address. That's another thing I'm going to talk about shredding after. And by the way, the people that have those envelopes, please contact the company that donated them and give them your name and address, and they will courier. I'm not kidding you. They're going to courier a shredder right to your home.
Are they going to make sure that he shreds his card like right there?
Say that again?
Are they going to make sure that he shreds his card in that shred like right there?
No, I don't want you to shred your card in case you ever need to present it to somebody. But you could let everybody know your address, and this weekend you could have a shredding party. Have everybody come over with all their documents.
So why would never shred the card when the data's out there?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah. You have to protect, That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how you protect your personal and identifiable information. And why would you carry those two cards in your wallet when somebody can get them? Now they actually have the cards. They can actually walk in and use those real cards. Those are the real cards. There's no picture on there. So those cards are very valuable. Be very careful with that. So let's look at some of the things I'm going to talk about today. How many people own a shredder? Fantastic. For those of you who don't, how are you destroying your personal information? So you're doing your income taxes right now. Some of you are preparing your income taxes. You're getting documentation from different companies you work for, and you're now putting together your tax documents, and you decide you don't need a piece of paper, and you've written your social insurance number on it, or it's got information of where you work, it's got all kinds of stuff on it, and you don't own a shredder. What are you doing with that? You're putting it in the garbage? Somebody could take your garbage and go through it. Somebody could take your blue box and go through it. They've got that information. You have to shred. And I'm going to talk about how you should shred. So you got to protect your home and office all the time. You got to shred. You got to be careful with your garbage. The phone, the mail. How many people here? I'm one. I have a mailbox outside my door. How many people have a mailbox right outside their door? Unlocked, unattended all day. A lot of us do, right? As soon as we know when the mail person or the carrier comes, and we go get our mail right away. We hear it open and shut, and we know there's mail there. We go get it. But and some people have a slot in their door. That's good. Some people pick their mail up down the street in a box that's been set up, one of those, a lot of new neighborhoods now have them now. Eventually you're not going to get any mail at your door anyway. It's about to be phased out over the next few years, I think. So your mail is very important. The phone, you got to be stingy on the phone. Somebody calls you up and starts asking you for personal information over the phone, your bank, your insurance advisor, where you lease your car. Should you give that information up over the phone? No, never. You get the number and call them back, and check to make sure it's the right number. The phone, the mobile phone, it's a computer now. The smartphones, it's identical to a computer. It's got everything on there that's on your computer. How many people password protect, backup, antivirus, spamware? How many people have the same thing they have on their computer on their phone? You have to have both. Both should be identical. Whatever you're doing to protect your computer, you should be doing the same thing with your phone. Very, very important. So let's talk about shredding. How many people saw the movie Argo? Okay, how many have heard of Enron? WorldCom? What did they do? Wow, you read a lot and you go to the movies, that's good. So, you know what? What you saw with them reassembling the shredded paper, when it's strip cut, that's very easy to do. You know that, it takes time. But cross-cut or confetti, good luck. So if you own a shredder that is currently strip cut, give it to the neighbor you don't like. Okay? I know we all have one. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Get rid of that shredder. Buy a new one. Get one that is cross-cut. So it cuts both ways. Okay? The one that our friends won is a cross-cut. And you can actually get them where it goes really fine into like small confetti as well. So that is very, very hard to put back together. That's the best one to get. And the ones that we gave away today have a sensor in them. So when you're shredding, if your finger touches the entry point where the paper goes in, there's a heat sensor there, and the shredder shuts off. So you could actually get, if you own a business, you could get your children to shred for you, and you could do income splitting and actually save on your income taxes by having the kids do the shredding, okay? So feel free to do that. But the only thing it doesn't sense a tie. So any women who have the husbands doing the shredding, if he's wearing a tie and he goes down, well, we won't go into details on what could happen there. Okay, so shredding, very important. And here's a little joke I have. I'm trying to make this a little bit more humorous because this is a very dry subject, and you know it's good to add a little bit of humor. I thought you'd get a kick out of this. Can everybody read it okay? Some read faster than others. Okay. Okay. That's funny, the different laughters going. I love it. Okay, so shredding is very important. Just make sure what you're doing with your what you're putting in the shredder. By the way, while I'm here, I'd like to thank John and everybody at the university for inviting me. I'm very, very happy to be here. And because of this event today, I had an interview on CTV just before the event. And once I finish speaking here, I've got to go to CTV that was first, and we're doing CBC after. So we're going to be talking about identity theft. I'll be talking about some of the things I talked about today. One of the interviews is already over, and we're doing a second one after the show, so after the event. So I want to thank you for that too. That was fantastic for setting that up. Okay, we talked about the mail. If you have something really sensitive that you want to mail to somebody, and it's got sensitive information in it, courier and signature are the best. I would not put it in the regular mail. You have to be very, very careful. You do not know what's going to happen with that document along the way. You have to be careful what you mail. Sensitive, private, confidential items, courier, express post with signature, tracking, that's good. And if it's really sensitive, if any of you are in a business where you're handling sensitive documents with personal and confidential information, hand delivering it or having your clients come to your office, that's even better. Okay, so be very, very careful, especially right now around tax time. Okay? That's what I do in my business. I'm in another industry. I work in the financial services industry. I'm very, very cautious about this stuff. I do not want my name, my clients' names, or our company's name in the media because of a data breach or lost information. That's the worst thing that can happen. It's not good for the brand. Target, all TJX, all these companies, some of the government agencies that have been in the news, it's not good. People do, your value of your industry, your company, the stock, everything goes down. People stop shopping there. It's not good. So you have to be careful. You have to protect. If anything you get out of this speech today and the things you're learning today from everyone who's speaking, you have to protect your personal information all the time and that of the people you do business with as well. Okay, that's really, really important. So I talked about the phone earlier. Just let you read that little. So you look at. I've had probably done about 30 or 40 of these speeches over the last few years. Well, actually, probably over 50 or 60, I should say. And after I speak, before I speak, during the speech, I always get people talking to me about different things that have happened to them, where they get a phone call. John and I were on a CBC radio show, and somebody called in about 6-7 weeks ago. Somebody had been called by Microsoft to say, how many people have that call? Come on. Oh, I love it. Take a look, turn around. Look at the audience. Do that again. Show me that. Wow, that's a lot. They're after you in the Maritimes. Hardly anybody in Ontario has had that call. And I'm not sure why. Because I asked the same, I had an audience about half the size and only had 2 people put up their hand. So that's interesting. Why are they targeting you? I have no idea.
We have a lot of viruses.
They must think so. So Microsoft calls up and they tell you you've got a virus on your computer and they want to help you remove the virus. Was that it? Is that the call? Wow, that's a lot of people. So, even on what? Yeah, on the Mac. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it could be on the Mac as well. So there you go. And they want to get a hold of it. How about they get a hold of it? Now they're on your computer. You've given them permission to go on your computer? Oh, by the way, there's 1 or 2 people in this room that did it. And they're not going to put up their hand. I already know. It's like, no, I'm serious. Spam is the same way. When they send out spam to billions of people, there's got to be a few thousand that open it up and act upon it. That's why they do it. So if you target thousands of people, you're going to get 1 or 2 that are going to be vulnerable, and they're going to get a hold of their computer, they're going to access their information, they're going to get their bank account, they're going to get a copy of their will, they're going to get a copy of their tax documents from the last 5 years, because you know where you file it on your computer? Under personal. They're going to go right there. They got access. Oh, don't give anybody access to your computer unless you know who they are. And you've called them. So I've done it with Rogers. I needed help on my Rogers account. I was having trouble, so I called the self-help line, and then I went online, and then they just gave me a thing I had to sign off on the computer saying I agree to let them look at it. Then they went on, and I was watching, navigating my computer. This was Rogers. I was dealing with Rogers. They might not have been in Canada. They could have been in India somewhere, but I know I was dealing with Rogers. Okay, and they took care of my problem because I went to them. They didn't call me. Okay, that's the important part. If you go to that website and it's rogers.com, not somebody sending you something, malicious and spoof. You know what a spoof is? You know what spam is? So be careful there. So when I put the book out, there's only 1 chapter on internet and email fraud in here. If I was to rewrite this book, half the book would probably be about that one topic, and we'd have to have more expansion on the mobile technology and, those 4 or 5 topics you put up after, like the drones and the meta and all that. There would be information on here too. And I wouldn't call it the Canadian guide, I would call it the guide, so I could sell more of them in the States. So at the end of the day, you have to know what you're doing all the time. You have to protect. Let's see, if we get this thing here. So the phishing, everybody knows what that is, right? You know what phishing is. So, and they're trying to lure you in. That's where that came from. And all of you are aware, most of you in this room are aware of what I'm talking about here. And I guess I'm just trying to enlighten it a little bit more and make you more aware that this is where it's at. This is probably, I could have just spoke about this all day. I'm not a computer expert, but I do know enough about this stuff that this is where it's all happening. So if you're not password protecting and changing your password on a regular basis, if you're not careful with your wireless, there's WEP, there's WPA, there's WPA2, and you got to make sure you're using the latest technology, that you're updating and scanning and backing up, and you got to do it. Don't become complacent. Be proactive and do it with not just on your computer, on your phone. A lot of you are vulnerable on your phone because you don't think it's and the Mac. People don't think it can happen on the Mac. It sure can. How many people are running Android devices right now? Put up your hand, please. Okay. You guys are more vulnerable than anybody else. You know that. You got to be careful. You got to make sure you secure what you're doing all the time and make sure you back it up. And you know that if you do lose your phone, you're going to call your your phone provider, whoever you got the phone from, TELUS or Cogeco or Rogers. Who's out in the? I should know. They're all here? Yeah, you got them all. Okay, good. Eastlink. Okay, you're going to call them, you're going to cancel your phone, you're going to let them know it's been stolen or lost. That IMEI number, you know that number? Each phone has a number that's like a serial number that's associated with that phone. Once you cancel your phone, they have a blacklist. You know this, you've heard this before? How many people know about this? Great. Your phone cannot be reactivated on another network across Canada. They cannot use that phone again because that number will go on a blacklist, and all the carriers across Canada, they all look at that list before they reactivate a phone. So that's good. So, and you can also have software that wipes out your phone. So all the data on it can't be taken. How many people have that on their phone? Way to go. So look into this stuff. This is really, really important. You have to protect, and I keep on saying this, your personal information all the time because you do not want to be. Did I tell the story about the mortgage and title fraud yet? I haven't told you about that one. About my doctor? I'll tell you that in a minute. I'm going to tell you a story that'll blow your mind. This is where it's happening, right here on the internet. And it's happening all the time. And there are sophisticated organizations out there, the guys that did the Target thing, the guys that did TGX, the guys that are constantly trying to break into the CIA, the FBI, the RCMP, the Treasury Board. This is going on. Right now, there are organizations in Asian countries that are trying to infiltrate probably every major business and organization in the world to get information and data from them. So it's very easy for them to just go down to the regular guy like you and I, the regular person, and steal our data. And they can do it if they want. It's big. Online fraud, it's way past phone fraud for a long, long time. I mean, and even the romantic scam, you've heard of that one before. There's a lot of people that got caught on that one. I love these, this is an email I got. If you go over the address, you'll always see where it's really coming from. Put your cursor over the email address. And there's always spelling mistakes, and they're always looking for information. I do business with a financial advisor who takes care of over $70 million of his investors' money. And he told me that he fell into the Royal Bank scam. He got one of these from Royal Bank, and he actually gave up the information. And he takes this, he just told me on Monday. No, it was Tuesday. $70 million of assets this guy takes care of other people's money. And he got an email and let a scammer, a spam, take advantage of him and get access to his bank account. I don't want to say the word. That's pretty silly, isn't it? So you got to be careful. PayPal, eBay. How many of you had this before? We've all got this before. The 419, the Nigerian 419, I've got millions of dollars. I want to share it with you. Yeah, just give me your personal information and write me a check for $5,000. How about the brain surgeon that got scammed, this is an old one, for $250,000. This is not identity theft, but it's a funny story. A brain surgeon in California, you could probably Google it and you'll find out more about the story. It's an old story, it's about 7 or 8 years old. And you ever heard of the black money? I have a chemical I'm going to sell to you I brought this money in from Europe and I needed to put it back into so it looks like the currency, and there's a chemical you can buy to make the money come back to its original state. He gave up $250,000 buying those chemicals to help the paper turn back into money. A brain surgeon. So, how many people here use the same passwords and just reconfigure them and change them about and alter them? Like I do that, but I've got some I use sentences. So I love to play soccer on Friday the 13th. I-L-P, and I just keep on going. The first letter of each word, then I go uppercase, lowercase, uppercase, lowercase. And I have about 5 or 6 sentences that I use, and I just keep on switching them back and forth. I never have to write down my passwords anywhere. I know all the sentences. If I go and I forget which one I'm on that device, I just try the next one. It's usually that one. So just mix it up, change it up. Don't try not to record them anywhere. If you can come up with some kind of a method that works for you. I think it's called mnemonic, or I can never pronounce that word. Is that the, yeah.
Mnemonic.
Yeah. Say it again?
Mnemonic.
Mnemonic. There you go. So I've already talked about this before with the computer. So on the computer, you should be doing this. You should be backing up, password protecting, software protecting, all this on your mobile devices. treat your smartphone as a computer. Okay, if you're not doing all this stuff, yes?
I've never heard of the software protection for my iPhone. I assumed it came through the carrier that I service with.
Well, find out what you got on it and see if you need it. Okay, I'm not an iPhone guy anymore. I'm a BlackBerry and Android type. But there must be, you sound like, are you on the Mac? No? Okay. Before you leave here today, we're going to get an answer to that, because I'm not an expert on the iPhones. Yes? Oh, you know what? Let's wait till we finish the presentation and we'll do our Q&A. Yes?
Okay, actually, I was just gonna say, if you password protect it, you can set it up so if they enter the wrong password 10 times, it wipes out.
Yeah, is that the
Same
same
with
software?
BlackBerry.
Yeah, same with the BlackBerry too. All phones have a number of times that you put the password in, and if it doesn't work, then it just stops. Okay, so how much time do we have left, by the way? 15 minutes? Okay, good. I like it when you have a monitor in front of me with the clock ticking. Next time, please. Okay, this is good. This is one of my favorite subjects. So, identity theft when it involves your home. That's a picture of Susan Lawrence, and there's another gentleman by the name of Paul Ravinsky, and there's also my doctor's best friends. I've told this story a few times today. I forgot. I haven't told you this one about my doctor's best friends. Okay, so the book comes out in 2007. I tell my doctor about it 2 or 3 years later. I go in for my annual physical, and my doctor is all excited. I felt like switching roles. You know, like, here, you sit down on the table, and I'll sit down on the chair. I felt like she was like so excited. I've never seen her so animated. She tells me that her best friends, a husband and wife, woke up one day. The house was not in their name. There was a mortgage on the house that did not have a mortgage on it before, and that they were both divorced. And that sounds funny, eh? Yeah, you're all laughing because it didn't cost them anything to do that. But that's not the story. But you know how much they were so stressed, and it cost them time and money. I never got a chance to talk to them because my doctor said they do not want to talk about it anymore. That's how stressed they were. And how did somebody get them divorced, change the title on the home, and put a mortgage on? How did they do that? That is identity theft. That is like the real McCoy. Somebody got into their personal information. They must have had a copy of the deed, passports, driver's license. They must have had everything. Because, you know what, I've never been divorced, but I'm sure somebody in this room has, because there's a certain percentage of Canadians that do get divorced eventually. And somebody must have got at least 2 lawyers involved. It could be 4, because sometimes when you relinquish the matrimonial home in a divorce settlement, each party has to have ILA. There could have been at least 4 lawyers involved, a bank, right? An appraiser. Somebody gave them a loan on the mortgage. All that took place, and you know what it's going to cost them in time and money if they don't have title insurance? Hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars to get that back, so that it's back in their name, no mortgage on it, and that they're not divorced anymore. So I said to my doctor, I said, if there's a murder, it used to be that the butler did it. I think the cleaning lady did it. And I was joking with her, but you know, I thought about it. I said, do they have cleaning ladies? Yeah, they do. It could have been a man or a woman. I don't care what, I'm not trying to say it was her that did it. I'm just saying it could have been anybody. But the point is, somebody had access to that information inside the house. They could have gone to a filing cabinet that's not locked. A lot of us have filing cabinets in the house, don't we? I know I do. Mine's locked now. I don't have a cleaning lady. My wife and I do it. Cleaning man and cleaning woman. And they got the information, then they recreated them, and they went and did all that. That's a nightmare. That's really, really bad. And in the beginning of my book, there's a story about Alicia, a woman from out west. Same thing happened. She didn't lose her house. She lost everything else. And even when she applied for a brand new credit card after she was a victim of identity theft, the brand new credit card got delivered to the person who did the identity theft. Yeah, because they'd done a change of address or something weird like that happened. And she was down in Florida, or California, or Mexico, somewhere vacationing, and she went to take money out of her bank account. There was nothing there. They'd taken all the money out of her bank account. They rented skis, never returned them. They rented a car, had a car accident. She had the Insurance Bureau of British Columbia calling her to chase her for a claim on a car she never rented. I just realized I'm moving way too much for the cameraman. Sorry. I'll keep the spot here. Okay. And unbelievable. That's a nightmare. And that lasted about 2 years. So if you don't protect your personal information and somebody recreates you and does all that stuff, it can be a nightmare. Now, it doesn't happen to that many people as everyone thinks, but you don't want to be a victim of identity theft, so it's best to protect it. Okay? All the time. What can you do to prevent what can you do to have what's the remedy for this? Title insurance. How many people here own a home? How many people here think they have a title insurance on their home? Okay, a few of you don't then. So do me a favor, contact the lawyer that did your last transaction, or look at your, I'm not sure if they call it a statement of adjustments here in Ontario, in Nova Scotia, but there's the bill you got from your lawyer? It'll show what they did for you, and one of the items might be title insurance. So if you have title insurance, you're in good shape. If you don't, you can buy it after the fact. What does title insurance do? Title insurance helps you in case of title fraud, mortgage fraud, all kinds of problems that can happen after you buy the home. A lot of times people buy title insurance because they don't have a survey, so that prevents the problem with the survey later. So just Google Title Insurance Canada, or First Canadian Title, or Stewart Title. There's a whole bunch of companies that offer it, and you buy it once, okay? It's for the whole time you live there, and it survives the spouse. So if my wife and I have title insurance title insurance on our home, and should one of us pass away, it's still there. And then once we sell the home to somebody else, now it's gone. Title insurance, we don't need it anymore on that house, correct? So you should have, if you don't have it, you got to get it. It's like between $300 and $500. Is that cheap? One time, not an annual cost. And then my doctor's friends, guess what they would have done? They would have called up the title insurance company and said, we have a problem. They would have told them what happened, and they would have had to get the mortgage removed from the property and put the title back in their name. Is that good? That's not expensive, eh? Now, the higher the value of the home, that could go up, but it's usually about, I would say you're probably looking at $300 to $500. You know you're a victim when this starts happening. How many people here have done a credit check recently on themselves? Have you ever done a credit check on yourself? Oh, wow. The speakers and the organizers have. That's good. I like that. Yeah, great time to do it. Okay, you can get a free credit report from Equifax and TransUnion. They make it a little difficult to get it, but you can go online and just keep on navigating on their website until you find the free one. It'll take a week to 10 days to get there, and it won't have your credit score on it. Okay, so it's not instantaneous, no credit score, but it will show the history of all the credit that you currently have. Equifax, TransUnion, those are the two companies. Now, you want it right away, you could purchase it for $20 to $30, and it comes instantaneously on your computer, and you can print it off if you want, or if you want to save paper, just review it, save a PDF. Don't put it in personal on your files in your computer, put it somewhere else. And now it'll come with a credit score, you'll get it right away, and you'll still see the same data, all the credit information. Now, you see stuff on there that's not yours, that's when you call the institution. So you notice that you've got a TD Visa, but you've never applied for one, right away call up TD Bank and find out why you have a TD Visa when you shouldn't have one. Okay? Yes?
For those credit reports, we're lucky that TransUnion is right next door to Dal, so you don't even have to do it online. If you want, you can just walk right into the office.
Is that what you did?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. There you go. First time I've ever given a speech where you could just walk across the street to get a credit report. I love it. So there you go. And it's not that expensive. Or you could also subscribe to a program that's, both these credit reporting agencies have like an identity theft protection type program where they give you a free credit report. You have to pay so much a month, like anywhere from $19 to $30. And if anybody goes to access credit on your name, with your social insurance number and your date of birth, they alert you. So I have one. I'm with a company called ID Alerts. And if anybody was to go and try to access credit under my name, just like the doctor's friends, they would not be allowed to get credit, because I would get an email right away saying your credit report has been accessed. And then I would contact the institution and say I was not there. Another thing you can do if you've been a victim of debit or credit card fraud or identity theft, you can put a fraud alert. Has anybody ever heard of this before? Oh, good. So you put a fraud alert, the guy that won the shredder. That's great, I love it.
I'm willing to set a bad example.
So if you put a fraud alert on your credit report, you have to prove to them that you've been a victim. And they will ask you for a phone number to put on the bottom of your credit report, so that when someone goes to TransUnion or Equifax, so we'll use TD as an example. So John is pretending to be me. He goes into TD to get a TD visa. They pull a credit report. He's got all the identification he needs to do it, because he found the social insurance card and the birth certificate in my wallet, and he created me. He goes into TD Visa or TD Bank. I get a phone call on my cell phone saying, "Hi, Mr. McWaters, are you applying for a TD visa right now?" I go, "No." So thank you very much. Click. Guess what? While he's sitting in the chair at the bank, the police arrive. How about that? Is that good? Fraud alert. Fantastic. Check your credit to make sure you're not a victim of identity theft. Do it regularly. You can also have the ID alert where people notify you when it's happening without it. You'll always know when someone's checking your credit. Okay? So,
Sorry, the only thing with that is that most banks put a clock on you, that if you find something that's wrong, you're still liable unless you report it to them like the first 30 days. After 30 days, they're only responsible for 65%.
yes. Yeah, some of the financial, yeah. It's in the bank's best interest. Like when they took the $4.99 out of my bank account, TD Canada Trust put it back in our account within 10 days because we were not the ones who committed the fraud. And with American Express, the thing that happened last week, they suspended those two dealings that were, or whatever the purchases, and they canceled my card. And they're going to see that I was not the one who did that. So that's why you have to check your bank statements regularly, and that's why you have to be very vigilant, and you should get, at least once a year, you should get a credit report done. It doesn't hurt, it's well worth it. And also, all of a sudden a statement arrives at your home saying that you've got credit that you never applied for, you're definitely a victim. The good one is that be careful if your property tax bill always arrives at the end of January for the first quarter of the year. I'm not sure how the taxes are out here, but we get our property tax bills in Richmond Hill, Ontario at a certain period of time every year. And if they don't arrive, that could be a problem too. That means somebody might have done something on my title and changed the address where the bill's being sent. So that's a thing to be aware of. You have to let the police know if you've been a victim of identity theft. You should report to all the government agencies, Services Canada, your driver's license, OHIP, or whatever your medical plan is down here. Let everybody know. There's an identity theft statement at the back of my book, and that's basically you're going to do a report showing exactly what happened, a whole detailed report, and every time somebody asks for it, you give the same report to everyone. And you want to contact all your creditors. That's huge. You have to let everybody know. And you want to get brand new cards. You want to change your PINs. By the way, you can just walk into Royal Bank right now and say, I lost my debit card. And they'll just cut it up and get a brand new card and put a new PIN, new number on there. If you don't have chip, if you want chip, and you know your institution's issued them, you can go and get a chip. The chip is safer than just the magnetic stripe by itself. Okay? And I already talked about the fraud alerts. Make sure you do that. I've already talked about most of this. You do not want to, sorry, I have to rub it into the guys that won the shredders, but you do not want to carry that in your wallet or purse. And ladies, do me a favor. I know a lot of you, like when you go, my wife does it sometimes, and I'm always reminding her, when you go shopping, and you've got the basket, and your purse is in the top of the basket, open, with your phone and your wallet exposed, you're just setting yourself up. Imagine, someone can get everything from one shot. Your purse has your phone in the top, because you're expecting a call, and your wallet is right there. I'm sure right now, somewhere in Halifax or Sydney, somebody is having their purse or their phone stolen from a grocery store right now. Because people do that all the time. They always leave it open. Don't do that. And never give that information over the phone, never give that information over the internet unless you know who it is and you can verify it. Call them back. Go to their website, okay? This is all common sense stuff. You guys know this, all of you do, or you probably wouldn't be here. You should know that opening up attachments from strangers, you gotta be very, very careful. This is really, really important. And I strongly urge, I've already mentioned a few times, get that credit report, check it out, make sure you know what's on your credit. Okay, we have a couple minutes, 2 minutes for questions, and then I'm going to go outside and sign books that I'm giving away with the $20 signature. Okay, yes.
I've got a tip for anybody who's got a senior parent or grandparent. They have got places in Florida, and they all have decided that in order, in case they lose their wallets, they photocopy all their IDs front and back.
Yep.
They keep one in their purse, one in their overnight bag, and one in their suitcase. But then when you're off the beach or off golfing, someone's coming in to clean your room, there's all your IDs come back. So we're going to do it.
Yes.
If someone goes to Florida and they do that, that's
Okay, so you just brought up a couple points. One, is it a good idea to photocopy all your IDs front and back? Yes. Then what do you do with them? You put them in a safe place. You lose your wallet, now you have evidence of all the things that have been stolen, but don't put them, when you travel, don't leave them inside the hotel room so that the cleaning staff can grab it or a thief can go in. So just be careful with that information. Any other questions? And I can answer more questions outside when I'm doing the book signing. Any others? Yes?
Another tip, most people don't use city locks or they don't use alerts for where a certain amount of thresholds of payments on their cards. And Capital One, most modern credit cards, they all have it, so you can lock your credit cards to wherever you're traveling. Like my card only works in Halifax. If I go over $20 on a charge locally or over $20 online, I'm immediately alerted.
So daily limits and alerts. So how many people here have got a call from their credit card company while they're in the middle of doing a transaction? Yeah, that's them protecting you, so that's good. When you do the online, when you do that credit card, not the credit card, the credit check, they're going to ask you for personal information to verify that you are who you are. So when you do that online, or if you do the, go for the free one, whichever one you do, they're going to ask you stuff. It's okay to give it to the Equifax and TransUnion. When they ask you, do you have a TD Visa with a $6,000 limit, and it's only a $2,000 limit, that's a trick. They're trying to find out if you really know that you are who you are. They might ask what your previous address was, where you lived, because that's on your credit report. So it's okay to give that personal information to TransUnion and to Equifax, because that's their way of verifying that you are who you say you are. Okay, that's my last little bit of a tidbit of information. And I guess we're up for time.
Actually, right along those lines, we had a question on Twitter that was, and I think I know the answer to this, but you're the expert. Checking your own credit report, does that affect your credit score?
No. So that's called a soft hit, and there's a hard hit. So when you go to do your own credit check, you know, with Equifax or TransUnion, and that is called a soft hit. So if your credit score was 746, it's going to stay at 746. Now, you go and apply for a TD Visa, and then you go to CIBC the next day, and then you go to MCAP for a mortgage. You've been seeking credit 3 days in a row. That will probably diminish your score from 746 to 732. The more you seek credit with financial institutions or car loans or leases, stuff like that, that is called a hard hit. When you do it yourself, it's called a soft hit, and your score does not go down. Okay? Good question.